Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews, and the crowd roars. How you doing, brother?
Doing very well. Yeah. I think you and I are just both powering through and doing this one, which is interesting because I know, we can weave it into this, what we want to talk about. The idea right now of you and I being here doing this, when quite honestly, no disrespect to anyone listening to this, we love producing podcasts for you guys. And if I'm completely honest, I imagine both of us right now could quite easily not do this right now, just given tiredness and other things that are going on, despite how much it fills us up. Yeah, at the same time, we are also committed to the podcast. And like I said, as tired as we are, we love doing it and we know how important it is for the movement, which segues into what I want to talk about today. Now, on the Inner Circle call today, many of the men echoed something similar, right? They were talking about how, despite things being turbulent at times, be it at home or in business, they know they have to stay disciplined to doing what they know works, even when they don't feel like doing it, right? And where I'm going with this is it's going to parlay in to some things. So bear with me, Doug. Doug is smirking because we just agreed to talk about one thing.
Something totally different.
And I'm talking about something else. But I think it's relevant. I think that they both parlay in. As you know, the title of this episode is Why Your Wife is Never Grateful Despite How Much Money You Earn, right? And part of it is because she doesn't care, for the most part, about how much money you make, right? She doesn't want your finances. She wants your connection. She doesn't want the presence. She wants your presence, right? And along with that connection and leadership feeds in the idea of discipline, right? If she sees you give in or give up when you just don't feel like doing it, and you're inconsistent and you're up and down, that then, as we've spoken about in previous episodes, feeds into her feeling a bit more insecure in the relationship and not knowing what she can expect from you or whether she can even trust you. Right. Therefore, by default, she's going to rise up into her masculine somewhat, to whatever degree. It will, be dependent on the relationship. But I think as men, we often expect women to, or our partners, to really worship us for the sacrifices that we make. Right. How hard we go out and work. It's like right now, you and I, we're tired. We're doing this podcast. I can hear Amelia, dancing downstairs and having fun. And obviously, as you guys know, she hasn't worked for many years. It's not like we have kids to look after yet. And, part of me the story in my head wants to be, it's okay for her, right? I'll go down and she'll be relaxing or dancing around like she is now. And it's like, it's okay for her, right? But the point is that it's important for us to stay true to our word. What are you laughing at? You're putting me off. It's important for us to do what we know we need to do because we're not going to get the respect from our partners that we think that we desire, quite frankly, by how much money we deposit in the bank account. Not the financial bank account, anyway. We're going to get the respect and the admiration that we desire from our partners by making deposits rather in the emotional bank account. Because, women want to be provided for emotionally before financially. It reminds me of a conversation I had with a guy who joined the program a couple of years ago. And his wife had just left him for a disabled veteran. And he was just blown away by this. He just didn't get it. He's like, I don't understand. I have provided her with everything. We have the custom home. We go on vacations 3 times a year. We drive nice cars. She can have anything she wants, she gets. Money is no object. Yet she's left me for this guy that's down and out, that just cannot even provide anything for her. And he completely missed the point that in some respects, that guy was providing everything for her. He was providing for her what she actually wanted. right? And I think as guys, we often get mixed up thinking that our partners want us to provide them or provide for them financially, when in reality, it's they want it emotionally first and foremost. And that's when you get the gratitude and appreciation from your wife. When you become aware of this and you learn how to do it, and also at the same time, you live a life that is an example, right? That she can look at and look at your actions and that she can then respect, right? If she sees you're a man of your word and you follow through, even when you don't feel like it, if she sees that you can be trustworthy and you stay connected to her and you love her fiercely, even within all her wildness, right? Then she's going to show way more gratitude and appreciation for the man that you are and the character that you have, not how much money you deposit in the bank account.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely true. And a common thing that happens for men is, I mean, the wife, look, your wife wants money. We all do. And that's natural. But if you're not taking the leadership role consistently at home, it's not going to matter as much, right? Again, it's deer versus wolf again. Deer, the acronym, you're defending, you're explaining, you're excusing, you're reacting to everything. You become like a child to her. I was talking to one of the guys in the movement. I was talking to his brother-in-law and just said, look, would it be fair to say that your wife might look at you as another child in the house? There's a pause. And he's like, yeah, I'm being honest. Yes. And that's not sexy, guys, right? She doesn't want to raise another grown man like as a child. And so as men, we don't know what to do, right? And I've been in this situation, Tim, but you don't know what to do. Things are falling apart at home. You know, we want more intimacy. It's not just about the sex. Of course, we want more sex, but it's about the connection. You want that look of respect. So you go, you know what? I'm going to go out and hunt. I'm going to go out and bring more money home. And then she's going to be proud of me. Then she's going to respect me. Then she's going to drop to her knees, you know, and worship me, right? And the guys have this fantasy in their head, like they've been watching porn or something, and they've just conquered a huge deal. They're going to walk in the house. Their wife's going to drop everything and take care of all of their needs, sexually and otherwise. And it doesn't work that way. If you're not taking care of home base and yourself, right? Another child just walked in the door. And one of the reasons is you put so much need in the validation of your wife. That's a huge pressure for her. You're also telling her, I am not strong enough to handle me, so I need you to tell me I'm good enough. And then look, by the way, if I'm not strong enough to handle me and my self-love, I can't handle you. I can't handle the kids. I can't handle the other pressures. So I need you to carry me as well. Not only I need you to help yourself, I need you to help the kids, and I need you to carry me too. And that's not sexy. So no matter how much money you're bringing in, no matter how many vacations you go on, how many new cars, lake houses, trips, all of these things, diamond rings you're buying, you're putting all of your validation, you're putting all of your self-worth into her opinion and that reflection of you, which then means to her, it translates, she's not safe. Because if you can't take care of you, you can't be activated, as we call it, then how the heck are you going to take care of her? Something goes wrong, how do you take care of her? I'm guessing a lot of you guys have heard this from your wife, and you probably have been like, I don't know what she means. She's probably said she doesn't feel safe. She's probably said that. If you're hearing this, this is your wake-up call, guys. If you've heard from your wife, I don't feel safe. She's not talking about, I don't feel safe because the Russians are going to invade. That's not her worry. And a lot of guys are like, wait, what do you mean you don't feel safe? You know, I'm buff, I'm strong. I'd defend you. No, she doesn't feel like you're the man. So she has had to take the reins in the marriage. She has had to become a hardened woman, has had to become the alpha, which is not her natural energetic state. And she's had to take control, which therefore makes her feel less sexy, makes her feel less feminine. So regardless of the money you bring in, sure, it's good. I'll spend it. But guess what? You're going to end up with half that money because she's going to leave you for the disabled veteran, from the old high school quarterback, you know, who's down and out, but is still on Facebook or Instagram or something else. And we hear this so many times from guys who've busted their ass building an empire only to have another man raising their children. Only to have another man coming in. And I've seen this, Tim, up here because as you know, I live right by a ski mountain. So I see it all the time where I'll meet another dad and talking to him because I'm like, because you and I have this lifestyle where I'm able to go anytime to the mountain I want to and ski or snowboard. So when I see another father there, I'm like, cool. This guy's either financially independent or he's got some kind of job that allows him to go out to the mountain whenever he wants to. Awesome. So we have something in common. I start talking to him. Oftentimes it's the stepdad that's out there. The stepdad's spending the other guy's money, raising the other guy's kids. I'm taking my stepkids. They're out doing snowboarding lessons right now. Ooh, who's paying for that? Not the stepdad. He ain't paying for it.
I think as guys, so often, right, this whole narrative is she should appreciate me because I X, right, with the money or the business or whatever. Yeah. But the reality is, again, I've said this before and it reminds me of it. I was out walking with Amelia one time and in her wisdom, she said, hey, I don't think that you get it. I don't think you understand what it's like to be with somebody like you. Like an entrepreneur, like being with somebody like you, it's kind of hard, right? Because you're so committed to what you do and your purpose and you love it, you can just get lost in it, right? And if you allow it can kind of take you over at times because we love what we do. It's very rewarding and fulfilling in many, many ways. But the point is, what she said to me is, hey, look, I don't think you get that we are with you in spite of your business, not because of your business. I was like, wow. I never thought of it that way. She's like, look, I've been with other people who have a regular 9-to-5 job and they come home at 5 and they switch off. So you're kind of guaranteed an evening with them. Whereas, we have great fun and we're able to do things at random times, like you said, Doug, and so on. And also, what it's like when you run a business. There are times when, 5 o'clock, you won't finish, right? Because there's certain things that will come up and also you love what you do. So point I'm making here is I think as guys, we can often put the blame or the shame or the guilt even onto the woman. And I think we often forget that this is, for the most part, our dream. It was our dream to start a business. It was our dream to create financial independence and freedom and so on. And the reality is, if you weren't with your wife, you'd do it anyway, right? So you're not doing it for her. You're doing it because you love it and you want to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fantastic. And don't put some kind of expectation or some covert contract onto her as though she should just appreciate and expect you because you're doing this. Because like I said, you'll do it anyway. And at the same time, I think for a lot of guys, and I used to fall into this trap too, the men then avoid the real issue with all this, right? And then, like I said, they put the blame onto the, well, it's your fault. And they look to the woman, like you said, to then take care of the needs. Like if they're tired, right? It can be very easy to then, for example, go downstairs this evening once we finish this podcast. Amelia's all fresh and she's been dancing around and doing her thing. I'm tired. Yeah, one of my responsibilities is dinner. I provide the food. I take care of food, right? It's very easy for me to then want to go downstairs and go, I'm really tired tonight. I don't want to eat the food. And just make some kind of excuse that then puts my responsibility onto her. And that can, if it's a one-off, cool, we'll help each other out. But if it's going to be a regular occurrence, that's where I start to make her more like my mother than my lover. And where I can't expect to get gratitude from her in that situation. I can't expect to get respect or attraction or desire from her in that situation because I'm not like you said, looking after myself. I'm not bringing my best self to the relationship. So I think to the point why your wife is never grateful, despite how much money you earn, that story with the disabled vet, I mean, I just keep coming back to it. It's one that I often think of. Oh, he can't provide anything for her. What if he was providing exactly what she wanted from you all along? Attention, connection, just fun, being the CFO.
Yeah, and something I want to bring up because I heard you say it, and I could hear the guys. I love what you're saying, Tim. And I could hear some of the guys going, "Well, I don't like what I do, Tim." So you're saying, "Oh, you do it anyway, and because you love it." Well, I don't love it. Well, guys, that's another sign that you're in deer mode.
Mm-hmm.
That's another sign that you're not activated. You're out doing something you don't love. And if you guys have seen some previous podcasts or videos I have this big, huge poster. It's a ticket in my office, and it says one life, right? There's actually a date on it if you look at the side of it, but it's one life. Admit one per person. You get one ticket. If you're spending this at a job or a business that you own that you don't like, chances are you're coming home bitching about it all the time. She knows you're not fulfilling your passion, your destiny. You're really just created your own job, right? Your own employment. And that's also a sign of being in deer mode, guys. It's time for that change. The first thing is to get activated, right? Get into that activation mode. And we talk about this at the Alpha Reset, which is something by the end of this year that will be opening up to guys that have not been through the activation method. So we'll talk about that. But the Alpha Reset allows you to be in the situation where you come from a place of power and clarity in the course of a few days. Most transformational experience I've ever witnessed. And guys, you want to go there because if your wife's seeing this guy come through, like Tim was saying, he goes downstairs and he's a shell of himself. Well, she's going to be like, wow, he gives the best to everyone else and I get the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not sexy. You're not going to pay attention to her. You're going to focus on your needs of being tired, your needs of having to do stuff, your needs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, how much fun is that? Where's the fun in your marriage? It just won't be there. So instead, I'm sure Tim, is going to shake this off and he's going to go downstairs and do what I've seen him do with Amelia. He's going to sing and dance and they're going to have a great time cooking and some banter going back and forth between the two. And they're going to have a lovely evening because he's going to change the script as we did before we recorded this podcast. But you got to be in charge of your state. You have to be in charge of your state. What I mean by your state is your energy, your ability to tap into your power anytime that you want to. You have to be in charge of that. And you have to be activated. No more deer. You have to be the wolf. Tim, what are a couple of things these guys could do if they find themselves in this situation? They're like, man, I've been bringing home the money. I've been bringing the gifts. I've been bringing the vacations. I've been doing all these things, the new car. Yet she doesn't seem to appreciate me.
Well, I'm going to base that on the assumption that you recognize that what you're doing isn't working, right? Therefore, to the point earlier, a couple of points, providing emotionally versus financially. And the idea of that guy, the disabled vet, being able to provide everything that woman wanted versus the other guy. So coming from that place, a couple of things you can do right now. One is be the CFO, right? To Doug's point on managing your state, okay? I'm curious, what would it look like for you to be the CFO? I think that's one of the steps. You get to journal on that, right? What you could do, take out a piece of paper, draw a stick man in the middle of it, put a big smiley face on him, write CFO along the top. I want you to write down around that stick man what it looks like and feels like being that CFO. Get really clear, or as clear as you can be anyway, on what that looks like. How does he act? How does he respond to maybe challenges or moods within the household? What kind of things does he say? How does he feel? How does he walk? Maybe even how does he dress, right? Because I imagine he probably wears different clothes to what the clothes you wear at work, right? So get clear on what it looks like to be the CFO. And something we've spoken about in the past, what can you do to create an anchor that anchors you into that state before you walk in through that door? on an evening. Okay. Maybe it's a certain song that you listen to on your commute home. Maybe it's a certain sign that you put above your doorway to your office that you tap on the way out of your office. We've spoken before on the way in. Like Doug has its game time. On the way out, it's playtime. Right? So on the way in, you can tap that, gets you into game mode, if you will. And then on the way out, tap it again, gets you into play mode. So what can you do to create an anchor? Some people like to use clothes, right? When they get undressed out of a certain type of clothes and put some other clothes on, helps trigger the state. Some people like to exercise. Douglas shared the story how a friend of his used to come home and trainers would be outside the door would be locked, and he wouldn't be allowed in until he went for a run, because that was a thing that shifted his state. Because the reality is, if you shift your state and I accept the fact that your wife wants to be provided for a little bit differently, then that's going to pave the way for you to be able to connect with her and listen to her and be playful with her and create the kind of environment for her where she is going to be way more likely to feel appreciation for you and gratitude for you, regardless of how much money you make.
Love it. Guys, make sure you take action. As Tim said, go back and listen to what Tim is asking you guys to do. There's a difference, right? There's a difference between men that come here and listen to the podcast versus men who take action. We see it every day because we hear from you guys. We love hearing from you guys, whether it be in the Facebook group, our private community for the movement of the men that are in the programs, or the guys that message us. Absolutely love it, but there's a big difference for a man who takes action and just talks. So gentlemen, as always, a moment of insight, take massive action, and we'll see you next time on the Powerful Man Show.